28th of January. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Piotr here, and I'm preparing trading plan ahead of the US cash market open here for Light Forex Global YouTube channel. So without the further delay, let's go straight to the charts. Okay, we do know this week, especially the second part of the week, is going to be very busy. The flow related to the end of the month will dominate, but also we do have two important central banks. We do have tomorrow FOMC and then Thursday Bank of England. Of course, the things going on in Asia, the coronavirus case, that's also is going to put the pressure on the market. We already seen that with the gap down on indices. We've seen that with late Friday sell-off, and to be honest with you, I'm quite surprised. Market even yesterday, market didn't even try to close the gap. So we are about to start with SP 500, and I think both bulls and bears might be busy today. That's the daily chart of the S&P. All right. Well, if the things will go wrong, and of course the things may go wrong around the Fed or post-Fed, I wouldn't be surprised to see retest of 2,975 base on my chart. The levels close to the half of this of the consolidation we have right here, right? This type of the consolidation, but that's a very bad scenario. We don't want to see the crash, right? Even if you are a bear, believe me, you don't want to see the crash. I remember 2008 and what was going on pre and post market, and well, we don't want to see the crash. Okay, we might turn bearish and finally see some faster move to the downside, but we don't need any kind of the catastrophic move, especially that right now I truly believe it's easier to make the catastrophic move to the downside with all those algos around and stuff like this when there is a lack of liquidity, but that's completely different story. Anyway, so what I'm gonna to look for when it comes to the S&P today, because we are preparing the trading plan for today. Well, I think let's start with the bulls. I think the case with the attempt to closing the gap, that's gonna be the thing, right? So this type of the move towards 3,290, 3,300, that could be the case for the bulls, right ahead of the Fed. Well, I've already shared with you my thinking about the upcoming Fed, but of course not necessarily I have to be right, and we might see a little bit bigger rally if the Fed will try to prepare us for the cut, for example, I don't know, March, April. Anyway, bullish case, that's the target, 3,295, 3,300, that's the target. But how I'm going to prepare myself in case of the bullish setup? So I have to switch lower. Let's switch to 30 minutes, right? And what we have to do? How can we, or what we should observe and what we should think about? Well, my way of thinking is the stop count to the downside, right? So that would be my bullish setup. Of course, the things might change very easily right after the US cash open. It's gonna look a little bit different, but we have this reverse here during the pre-market trading, right? So I would like to see at the very beginning attempt to break this 3,235, right, with the quick reverse. All right, so then and only then that would be my bullish setup, all right, with very tight stop. Okay, with this reversal my stop would be just below today's US cash market low, right? And I would target what? I would target closing the gap as a first thing, right? You can also try to base on that consolidation, all right? You may try to make the break and double that consolidation, right? That would bring 3,300, all right? So the gap and 3,300, the whole zone, right? Because as you can see with this gap here, that would be the case. So the same levels as we can see, what we discussed based on the daily chart, right? That's the bullish case. I have two bearish cases, and we are going to discuss them right here, right now. The first bearish case, right, is rejection. Unfortunately, it's gonna be tricky. Unfortunately, it's gonna be tricky. Why? Because we do have a Fed tomorrow. So market may, may feel it is safe because of the Fed, and it's easier to push the prices higher. So the bears should be very vigilant today. Attempt. Cautious. Anyway, if we are going to get the attempt to break that consolidation with the rally towards the gap close and quick reversal, right, with the move back under 3,270, 3,265, that might be the short setup, all right, with the stop right above today's cash market high, right? The first target is going to be 3,235, right? The second target, doubling that range. In that case, we are talking about the levels close to 3,200. So that's how I see the things on the S&P. Not only S&P, because if you are going to switch to DJ or Nasdaq, you are going to you can play very similar things on those others as well. So I think those scenarios are going to be possible, tradable on all of the US indices. Now, because of the Fed tomorrow, I do not expect fireworks when it comes to the euro dollar, right? We are still going lower, and that's what we discussed. So we have two very important levels, both created last week, I'm talking post PMI, German PMI high and post ECB high, right? So we are talking about the 1060 or around, and then we are talking about the 1110, 1120, okay? As long as we are below, the lower levels are possible. I do expect some bullish activity around the current level, because from the daily chart we do have this possible demand we discussed quite a few times already, okay? So I do expect some kind of the activity around 10,990, right? But there is a big but, unfortunately, from the buyer's perspective. What I'm talking about the upside potential is very weak, right? Even if we are going to see the activity from here, right, 10,990, the first target is just 1025, 1030 levels around weekly open and yesterday high, right? If we are going to see a little bit bigger rally, then 1076 max, right? Don't forget in the meantime that we have this Friday high and post ECB high, so that's eventually the final zone. So what I'm gonna to do, I'm looking for a rally above weekly open, some spike higher, right? Maybe market will try to target the stops above today's high, above Asia, right? Maybe we are going to see at some point ahead of the London fix this type of the spike. That would be my setup to go short. On the other hand, of course, as I mentioned, because from the daily chart we are testing again very important level. So if I'm going to switch lower to the lower time frame, right? If I'm going to see some kind of the bullish price action around 990, maybe a little bit below. If I'm going to see, you know, just the stop count with reverse, right? That might be some kind of the setup for 30-50 pips towards 1025, right? Towards maybe this German PMI 1050. So as I'm saying, 30-50 pips, that could be the setup. So that's what bulls are looking for, all right? And the last one I'm going to watch this afternoon is cable. All right. And here is very interesting thing. Don't forget we have Bank of England. Well, with the current market price action, right? What market is trying to tell us? Market is trying to break market is trying to make a break, right, to the downside right here right now. And if that's the case, all right, if market is going break and close below, that may bring the levels we discussed already quite a few times, 2650. Okay, that might be this one in play. Okay, so the bears, conservative bears, are waiting for a daily close. Okay, what about aggressive bears? The aggressive bears don't want to sell here because you don't want to sell at some kind of the support, right? You don't want to sell at the trend line, right? You have to wait for a bounce, right? So yes, I would like to see the bounce up towards, I'm sorry guys, I would like to see the bounce towards the weekly open, right? So very similar to what we discussed with euro dollar a second ago. So let's switch lower, let's switch to the intraday chart, all right? We have this break to the downside, right? A little bit of the reverse based on the trend line we discussed, right? So if we are going to double that move, that easily could bring us for a weekly open. And this 30, 45, 30, 60, that's probably the zone where aggressive bears are. And you want to see the daily close below current level. So you want to see right here, right now, based on the intraday price action towards the London fix, spike, some profit taking, whatever you want to call it, and then you want to see move to the downside towards the end of the day. Would be great to see the close below 29.80 on the cable. On the other hand, if you are a bull, right, you are watching the current market activity, right? I want to see what's going to happen around 29.90, right? That's it. If I'm going to see some kind of the bullish price action, I'm going to jump in and try to trade. I'm going to make an update, if necessary, later today, or I'm going to tell you tomorrow what was the outcome. Take care, guys. Don't be trapped, and see you around. Goodbye.